Hello judges and hello everybody else. Thank you for tuning in. Now my name is Veselinov and that is my partner Elena Cvetanoska. Now as you can see, my partner and I are both practicing social distancing like everyone should be. Now before we begin, I would love to thank Vilipo for organizing this wonderful event in such a critical moment for the world. It is truly an honor to be a participant. Our goal was to create a deodorant that was all natural and different from the other deodorants available on the market. With Pyro, we actually managed to make it a reality. We first started off by researching deodorants, their chemical components, and the side effects they had on our bodies and our environment. We then continued digging for alternative ingredients that will have the same or even better antimicrobial properties as the ones in deodorants. When we managed to find the needed substitutes, we continued experimenting until we found our final solution. We called this solution Pyro. Now before we go on, there are a few things we need to know about sweat. Now currently on our body there are 2 to 5 million sweat glands. These sweat glands are divided into two main groups, apocrine glands and eccrine glands. Eccrine glands cover most of our body and secrete mainly water. Now apocrine glands on the other hand cover our armpits. They become active during puberty and they secrete, besides water, they secrete fatty acids and proteins as well. Now apocrine sweat on its own doesn't have an unpleasant smell. Although there are bacteria of the type of Mycoccus or Staphylococcus located under our armpits that actually feed off of these proteins and fatty acids and release chemicals such as trans-3-methyl-2 hexagonic acids, or TMHA for short. This chemical gives sweat its bad and unpleasant smell. Now, how do you solve this problem? The solution is quite simple, trying to inhibit the growth of these bacteria. And that is exactly what deodorants are doing. Now today's deodorants tend to contain components such as parabens, HO5, phthalates and so on, but I solely want to focus on triclosan. Now triclosan is an antimicrobial agent that could also be found in liquid soap, detergents and so on. Now triclosan is especially dangerous for women because in the body it tends to bind to androgen and estrogen receptors, thus leading to endocrine disruption. This endocrine disruption could further on cause diabetes, thyroid cancer, or even worse, breast cancer. Now triclosan, besides for our body, it's also dangerous for our environment because in nature it tends to favor anaerobic conditions and it tends to kill types of aquatic bacteria. For our active ingredient, we actually chose povidone iodine, or more commonly known as betadine, for its tremendous use in the medical industry and its amazing antimicrobial properties. We also decided to use ethanol. The idea was that the ethanol would evaporate and leave behind povidone iodine. Now, in the original Pyro recipe, we actually also used acetic acid and lemon concentrate. Now, the efficacy of Pyro was actually proven through 6 experiments, in which the 6th experiment actually showed most convincing and promising results. We took 3 pieces of bread, placed them on a watch glass, and once a day we sprayed the pieces of bread with water. Now, one of the pieces of bread we actually sprayed with our solution of Pyro, and throughout the course of 21 days we carefully absorbed mold growth. Now, all of our data, we actually inputted it into this line graph. Now, as you can see, the red line, representing the piece sprayed with Pyro, has its mold growth lowered by an astounding 81%, thus proving our hypothesis that Pyro actually inhibits the growth of bacteria and mold, or in this case, mold.
So our first question was if we can see our project as something that can be successful in the future, and if our answer is yes, then what would be the first 3 main tasks to do? Apparently, the application of our project, PyDor, on the market is 100% achievable without a doubt. With people becoming more and more educated about GMOs, non-organics, and basically trying to live healthier lives, this is their perfect solution. There are thousands of other healthier cosmetics products on the market, but Pydor is unique. It really is. Those other healthier products are a lot more expensive than the ones we are usually using at home, but fortunately this is not the case with Pydor. Its production cost is less than 70 cents, approximately 68.3 cents, and even if it is sold at a retail price which is 5 times higher than its production cost, it would still be cheaper than most of the deodorants that are currently available. So the first thing we need to do is to adjust our project Pydor and achieve the final stage of our project. The second thing for us is to find sustainable and promising manufacturing and investors as well. And the final step is for us to have smart marketing, for us to actually inform the consumers about Pydor and its advantages and convince them to buy it. The second question was, what was the most interesting thing that you learned from your project? Well, we learned many new things from our project and also a lot of surprising facts that we've never heard of before. But the most interesting thing that Pydor proved to us was that there is no need of the usage of toxic and harmful components when we can use cheaper and healthier ones, and deodorant would still be as good as it is now with a couple more advantages. So the third question was, if we have to do it all over again, what would we do differently? Well, the project somewhat reached our expectations, but it is in our future plans to try to add some components and also remove some of them. If we have to remove something, we would probably remove the acetic acid, because it has no use in Pydor. Firstly, it gives acidic smell to the deodorant. Secondly, it may be killing microorganisms, but it doesn't kill staphylococcus. And on top of that, if we remove the acetic acid, the deodorant has sweet taste, but not bad at all. And with the usage of fragrance, for example lavender, we can take up all of the pleasant smell, or we could add roses, and with the alcohol extraction we can use them as fragrance. So the fourth question is, where did you come up with the idea for your project? Well, our original idea wasn't this. It was creating a pad that would absorb the sweat and not leave sweat stains, and that would practically save a lot of sweaty businessmen and women or people going on dates from the embarrassment. But then we realized that that particular project would create a lot of environmental advices and judgment from professionals. So one day, as we were sitting in the school canteen, we read online that Yves Rocher was starting to produce paraben-free shampoos and other hygiene products, and that's basically where the idea came from.
After all this research, we can safely conclude several things about Pydor: that it works just as good as a normal deodorant, and even in some cases better, and that it does not propose a threat to our organism or to our environment. Now, I hope to see you next year, and stay safe everyone. Bye!